Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce RTX 3070 in Starfield. This one is the EVGA XC3 Ultra version of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, which Nvidia have confirmed are optimized for Starfield, okay? And I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Up's GPU Z. Resizable bar is also enabled, and over on the left, preparing it with a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D and 32GB of RAM. Let's get into it, shall we? Alright guys, here we have it. We're getting 60 plus frames per second, but at what cost, I hear you ask? Well, my friends, guess in the comments what settings we're playing on right now, and I'll show you in just a little bit. It seems like it is gonna stay above 60 frames per second all of the time, unless there's like smoke effects and so on, maybe explosions, it might drop then, but yeah, it's very close to 60 as you can see, and this is 1080p low settings. Yes, it's actually lowest settings aside from the resolution scale, which is set to 100%, so we're at native 1080p, because the default low settings select the resolution scale to 50%, and that looks absolutely awful, as you can see. Right? It's a blurry mess. It's really, really terrible. So we're definitely not going to utilize the preset, and I'm going to bump this up to 100% again, which still looks pretty soft. You know, it's still not that great looking even here. Oh boy. And maybe with sharpening it's gonna look better. Well, let's do 69% sharpening. Yep, there we go. It's a little bit better now. By the way, FSR2 is enabled, but it's just increasing the sharpness of the image, not really working as the normal FSR2 works, with like quality, balanced presets and so on, because this goes by the resolution scale instead of that. Yeah, so if you want 60 plus FPS all of the time at native 1080p, you gotta play on low settings, on an RTX 3070. Guys, just let that sink in. It's freaking ridiculous, man. What the hell? Also, compared to the 6700 XT, which is usually a little bit slower than the 3070 in other games, here, this one is a little bit slower than that. I think that one was getting 70 plus most of the time at these exact settings. Still not perfect from either GPU, obviously. Oh my god, it's dropping. Ah, look at that. It drops 58 frames per second, 57 frames per second. At 1080p low settings on an RTX 3070. And some people said that the problem with my 3060 video was the GPU being old. Well, here we have it at 3070, way faster than 3060. It still drops from 60 FPS at 1080p low settings with 100% resolution scale. But you know, you don't want to play at 540p, do ya? Oh my god. Okay, so let's bump it up to the medium settings preset, which still defaults to 50% resolution scale. And on medium, oh my god, look at that. Look at how soft it is. It's so terrible. So let's bump it up to 100% resolution. Okay, and it's getting 60, drops into the 50s already here. So in that other area, it's definitely going to drop into the low 50s, possibly high 40s. Since it's already dropping to the mid-50s sometimes here. Who's screaming at me? Hello? Hi? Can you call your friend? Oh my god, that's a big jump right there. Please call your friends. I'd like to have a big fight right now. Oh boy. Okay. Well, if you're looking for that 60 FPS average experience, you're gonna get that on medium settings. Medium settings. Look at that. 50s here. I think this is the place. Yep, 40, mid-40s on a 3070. If you care about performance, don't buy this game. We're doomed, guys. We're all doomed. Actually, we wish we were doomed, because Doom has very good optimization now that I think of it. No way. So you need to use FSR or upscaling to get 60 plus FPS at 1080p medium settings, and I found that 80% resolution scale using FSR is a pretty good compromise at 1080p and above. At 4K 75% is pretty nice, and yeah, turning that setting down gives us an average of 69 frames per second. Of course, over here it's gonna drop a little bit more. It's probably going to drop from 60 FPS once a lot of things are happening and there are a lot of particle effects on screen. Yeah, there we go. You don't even require particle effects on screen. You just look back in this area and we're back into the 50s with 80% resolution scale at 1080p. You know what? Who decided that in 2023 every single game will have upscaling and will be unplayable without it on mid-range GPUs? Like, I'd like to meet the person who decided that. It's so weird that every single developer can't optimize anything these days. Who is telling me to stop right there? Like, who is talking to me? Guys? Oh, it's these two guys over here. The name of the law. Are you stuck there? Like, are you? Oh my. Okay. No, you're not stuck. Shut up. Shut up. Just so many of them right now. Okay. I'm gonna go this way. Also, as you can see, different areas will get you different FPS, especially at the beginning of the game. You'll see a lot more FPS than you see in this big city. And in the gardens of this city is where it drops the most, at least so far from what I've played. Obviously, there might be some worlds. What the hell are you doing? You won't take me alive. Whoa! I didn't want to go into photo mode or whatever that is. I'm gonna die. I am gonna die. Wait. Come on. Heal myself. Come on, Vasco. Please help. Kill the bastards. There we go. Critical hit. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So it's playable. It's not ideal, still drops, but hey, what should we do next? Like high settings at 1080p native, okay, without motion blur and without depth of field. But this doesn't do anything, does it? Like, it's enabled right now. And looking far into the distance doesn't do much. I think it's when you're close to something, like this object here, you zoom into it and it should get the background out of focus. No? Yes. Okay, there we go. That's exactly what's happening here. You can see that the trees at the distance are very out of focus. But overall, it doesn't really do much to the image. Somebody told me that it's only blurry because this depth of field is enabled. Not really. It's only in extreme scenarios like this where it's gonna matter. This is 1080p high settings. At least it doesn't really change that much in performance compared to low in performance and visuals. So you can still achieve playable FPS here. And if you disable the FPS counter altogether, I mean, you can have a decent experience if you don't care about FPS at all. It's a single-player title after all, but it's a first-person shooter one, and I think it matters to get 60 plus FPS all of the time. But if you can't, and if you want to lock it to like 40 frames per second, play on high settings, and native resolution, 1080p, get used to the 40 FPS experience, maybe add a little bit of motion blur to disguise the fact that it's not really getting 60, it's okay. That's it with 80%. Also, dynamic resolution doesn't really do anything. I've played around with this setting. Sometimes I leave it on, but it gets exactly the same FPS with it on or off. If these were the FPS that we were getting at 1440p high settings, with 80% resolution scale, I'd be fine with that. Honestly, I don't care. It would be terrible still for a 3070, but I'd be fine with that. But they're not. This is too much. This is not even 1080p. Let's go to ultra settings, which defaults to render resolution 75%. I'm gonna turn this off. We're gonna go with 75% first. 69 right there. Depth of field. That doesn't matter. I'm not gonna touch that anymore. Oh, the motion blur is still on. Wait. Okay, here we have it. This is the default ultra settings preset with 75% resolution scale, and it's getting 40s. You know, sometimes I forget to count my FPS. I'm sorry about that, guys, if you care about averages and 1% lows. But the 1% lows are always very similar to the average FPS that we're seeing here. It doesn't really stutter, so it's fine. It's a consistent experience once again. Come on. Get by. Also, see the FPS? They went up tremendously now that we're looking in this direction, because there's nothing there. And in a lot of the worlds, there won't be anything there either, so you're gonna see good FPS sometimes in this game. I'm just testing one of the most intensive scenarios. I'm gonna go up to 100% resolution scale, leave everything else as is. Over here, still above 60 frames. And once again, this is ultra settings. You know what? It's looking like No Man's Sky. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen similar water in No Man's Sky. Damn. Obviously, with such a big game, you can't expect them to have a lot of detail everywhere. So, I guess this is a bit excusable, right? But still, for the performance it gets, it's not excusable at all. Alright, and I'm sad. I am very sad to see this. So 40-something frames per second, 100% resolution scale, guys. Still gonna be 30 plus FPS all of the time. I wish it was around 60 on average, though. That would be okay and kind of acceptable. But yeah, it drops into the 30s. I would not play like this, especially because the high or even medium settings presets really look similar to Ultra in this one. So there's just no point in playing on Ultra settings if you don't have a 4090, basically. You know, 30-something over here. Well, good news is it's probably never going to drop from 30 frames per second. So you can play on Ultra if you're targeting 30, like a 30 locked experience and native 1080p. It's going to work okay. But it's such a shame, guys. State of gaming in 2023 is terrible. Let's go down to low settings once again. 100% resolution scale. Disable that. Disable motion blur. And I'm going to set it to 1440p next. Okay, this is it. 1440p native resolution is getting us 40 plus FPS on low settings. Ugh. I wonder if people are still gonna comment, oh, it's obvious that it was gonna perform like this. It's a 3070, it's an old GPU, like they do on my 3060 videos every time. I find it funny sometimes. Oh boy. Some people just seem to not understand that these are actually very capable GPUs, even though they're last gen, you know? Like, not so much 3060, I know, but 3070 is really strong for 1440p gaming, and it's struggling tremendously in the latest titles. Alright, let's go down there. I'm curious to see where this leads. Come on. There we go, it's all good. Oh my, whoa, whoa, what is this? Oh my gosh. What? I think we found another very intensive area in this game. The waterfall. Oh, that's so horrible looking. Obviously, we're on low settings, but still. It's like it's not even moving, you know? Yeah, look at that. It's moving with us. What the heck, bro? Oh my god. Okay. That's so weird. And there's another one right here, exactly the same. Oh boy, look at that, 30s. Smoke effects will get you 30 frames per second, even dropping from 30 probably. But these are extreme scenarios, okay? You're probably not going to do this very often unless you're like me and you like to explore dumb areas in games. Yeah, I'm always curious about this kind of stuff. Okay, we're back here, getting 40s and 50s again. No more 30s, thankfully. But we already know that it can and it will drop. And I think if there's a huge spaceship just landing in front of you, it is going to have a lot of smoke effects and it is going to drop. But those are like minor slowdowns, I guess, unless you're in the middle of a fight, and that happens in the middle of a fight. Avoid, you might die. Thank you, Vasco. That's very good advice. Where is he, by the way? Oh, there he is. Good stuff. It's playable, but once again, definitely not ideal. Let's do 80% resolution scale. Getting closer to 60 FPS, but still dropping. Damn it. I get so sad sometimes testing these recent titles. It's insane. It's insane. PC gaming is gonna die if things continue like this. Freaking hell, dude. I mean, it's not really gonna die because you can always play older titles, you know. Those are better, usually, and they're well optimized, in theory. At least compared to these, they're well optimized. I mean, Cyberpunk now looks like the pinnacle of optimization, right? And when it came out, it was terrible. Same thing happened with Red Dead Redemption 2. When it came out, it was not considered that well optimized, but then we looked at all of the detail that that game offered, the open world, everything, and it's justified there that it performs worse than similar games from that time. But here, man, I don't see it. I don't see it. But you know what the good thing is? If you avoid recent titles, you don't need to upgrade your hardware, and old games will run extremely well. So just stick to old games. There are plenty of them to have fun with, okay? Go play No Man's Sky instead of this one if you want a space exploration game. Okay, so at this point, I'm not sure if we should try higher settings at 1440p. I'm gonna try medium. It's a bad idea, I know, because it already performed pretty poorly previously. And at the default medium settings with 50% render resolution, you can get 60 plus, okay? If you keep the default settings and default resolution scale, it's gonna run okay. But that's 50% resolution scale. That's extremely low. Alright, it's actually 720p. The game is now running at 720p and upscaling through FSR2. It looks nowhere near 720p resolution though, so that's something. But in far objects like right there, not really too far, you know, you can see a lot of shimmering, you can see a lot of pixelation. It just doesn't look good. Once again, I found that 80% is probably the way to go, and, well, we get like 5 less FPS than we did at low settings with 80% resolution scale and 1440p. So that means that we won't get 60 FPS on average anymore. It will be a little bit less smoother of an experience. It's gonna drop into the high 30s possibly, and low 40s more often, but at least it does look quite a bit better than low. So I think I would still use these settings. I mean, you can't get 60 plus all of the time, so I wouldn't bother with that. I would just play the game, make it pretty, have like 40 plus FPS and call it a day with the 3070. It's sad, it's not ideal, but it is what it is. Let's see it with high settings now. I'm gonna keep the render resolution on 62%. Alright, that's... yeah, it gets around the same FPS as medium, maybe slightly lower, medium with 80% resolution scale. So of course, bumping it up to 80%, it will get like 5-10 less FPS than medium once again, and look almost the same. So I wouldn't do this, but if you really want high settings, it's good to know that it's still gonna be playable with the 3070. Over here, it's where we've seen it drop the most, aside from the waterfall area, and it's getting lower 40s. Or high 30s now. If you lock it to 40 FPS or like 35, it's gonna be a stable experience. Maybe play it with a controller, you know, so you don't feel the slowdowns too much. Okay, here we go. The resolution is now 3840 by 2160. Low 50% render scale, so low settings preset. And it's dropping slightly from 60 FPS, but this is now playing at 1080p resolution internally, basically, with 50% resolution scale. So it looks rough compared to 4K, but it's seeable. I can see things. I'm playing on a 40-inch monitor. If I was playing far away from the monitor with a controller, for example, like here, I mean, it doesn't look terrible. Look, it's right around 60 FPS, but I think at 4K resolution, I would go for a 30 FPS experience. If you can't get 60 plus 100% of the time with decent quality visuals, I think I would choose medium with like 80%. That should do the 30 plus FPS, right? Maybe not. It's actually gonna drop. Oh no. Oh no. Once again, 6700 XT was a little bit faster using these settings. Yeah, this is 80% resolution. Oh, look at that. Yeah, 29 there. Damn it. No, 27. Ah. What? No, 26. I don't like this. I really don't like this. We gotta go lower on the resolution scale slider. Okay, like this, we do get a good bump in performance from 26 to 34. It's very noticeable. You can lock it to 30 now. Leave it. It's gonna look okay still. Way better than 50% resolution scale, that's for sure. But it's a shame, once again, because this GPU can usually do 4K pretty well, especially when upscaling is involved, and especially when the VRAM isn't maxed out. And that's what we're seeing here, but raw performance-wise, this game is just so freaking intensive that the 3070 just can't deliver more than 40 frames per second. Still, if you have a 4K monitor with a 3070, I would actually play like this. Let's go down there. We haven't been down there, actually. Come on, kill this guy. Masked Resource Officer. Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. You're not dead. What? How come you don't die? What the heck? That's weird. Getting 40s. A little bit less intensive than back up there. Oh, the lighting changed. It's so much better now. Why does everything turn blue when you go outside? You can clearly see the difference right here. Look at that. It looked so much better without the blue filter on. I bet it will be fixed with mods, but still. Why? I wish we could be playing a well-optimized title that ran great and looked amazing, but it won't really happen in 2023 at this point, I guess. It's just... this is the new normal. Catch you in the next one very soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.